Here we are.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to this program called Mike's Daily Podcast.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I've got my own jingle theme song, and it plays at the beginning. And like Chely Sheen, I guess I am winning. Oh, well, that's what he used to say anyway. Do you remember that? Way back. That's good. I laugh at my songs that I try to sing. And I'm done with that one.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
2528 is the FF episode today, 2528. Live from
Mike's
Cafe Anyway,
Daily
somewhere in Podcastro
Podcast.
Valleyton.
Yeah!
Last podcast picture, I had this beautiful picture there of the Oakland Bridge taken from Emeryville. Such a nice area. I made that little comment about whiffy people, but that's not really necessary, I guess, to say that kind of thing. That doesn't really contribute to anything. It's like not a... So, some people don't shower, I get it. Some people don't want to, deal with water, I get it. But that's just... Today's podcast picture is going to be... Well, I'll tell you in a moment. That's... because I'm still looking. But the thing is that I had a very interesting morning where I was sort of sitting there thinking about what I talked about in the last podcast. And I was thinking about the whole thing where people, they're like, they get trolled. They try to do... This used to just happen to celebrities, but now it happens to anybody who's posting online. Maybe you get a little successful because people like, I don't know, the pictures you post. Maybe they like you, the way you look, or the things you believe in, or whatever it is. And people start to go, hey, I got these...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Negative people. It's not a podcast picture of negative people, but, you get these people that are saying to you things that you don't like, and you're thinking... Why? I think that's the big thing. I don't care if people don't like me, if people like me, whatever. It's nice, feels nice when they like you. And the late great Basil the Boxer, if you didn't like me, well, he might bark right in your face there and make a little comment in your head area, in your face. Make a not so calm comment. I think what gets me, and has always gotten me, when I was doing the radio, on the country radio, when I was on at night, and people would call up, I think what got me was that I'd be thinking about, wow, this person actually has no life, and they are going to spend that time that they could spend towards doing something else. And instead, they're going to complain to me. That fascinates me. Then again, I also say, hey, that's pretty cool that you mean enough to them. You've taken a bit of a position in their life that they're willing to reach out to you. Maybe you have that chance to help that person. Maybe you can tell them something that will be positive and will push them forward in a good way. But it just, I think what people think when they're trying to wrap their head around something big, something that you just can't process in your brain, why somebody does something, that gets us. Maybe that's what keeps up the celebrity I was talking about, keeps him up at night thinking about, why did they even write that? So the podcast picture today, I think, will be something from that little excursion I made to Oakland and the area known as Emeryville, and see that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. Or it'll be me and the cat. It might possibly be me and Rocky the cat. Here's something interesting. So it's not just Elon Musk, but tech CEOs everywhere, or as my mom used to say, everywhere, are quietly asking their employees to step up or risk getting fired. that Elon Musk's verbiage was pretty blatant. Some tech CEOs are turning up the heat and maybe not getting as that blatant as Elon, but they've been asking employees to step up throughout this year's stingier economy. Employees at Google, Amazon, and others have been asked to work harder or risk their jobs. Elon has been cranking up the intensity at Twitter since taking it over. He says there's a new, extremely hardcore vision, dense and intense office structure, and an arduous road ahead, and employees need to be on board or leave the building. This according to BusinessInsider.com. Although other tech CEOs have not issued edicts as aggressive as Musk's, there has been a lot going on in the economy, and they've been telling workers they'll need to work harder, albeit couched in more diplomatic language. If their language wasn't as belligerent as Elon's, the message was still similar that people should be expected to step up or find somewhere else to work. Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook told staff in July that he would dial up the intensity of employee performance goals. He reportedly said, realistically, there are probably a bunch of people at the company who shouldn't be here, and part of my hope by raising expectations and having more aggressive goals and just kind of turning up the heat a little bit is that I think some of you might just say that this place isn't for you, and that self-selection is okay with me. Later that month, during an earnings call, Mark doubled down on that vision and shared that the company planned to steadily reduce headcount growth over the next year, and many teams are going to shrink so we can shift energy to other areas inside the company. By the way, I listened to some NPR thing the other night, and they were talking about, you shouldn't drink coffee. You shouldn't drink coffee. When you drink coffee, it has like a half-life, and it takes forever to dissipate in your system. Yet at the same time, there's something called, I don't have it in front of me, but there's some kind of molecule, some kind of enzyme, I think it is, that your body builds up that gets inhibited when you're drinking coffee. And this enzyme helps you get tired. It helps you when you go to sleep. It helps make you sleepy. So when the coffee wears off, apparently all these enzymes hit you and you get tired, even though you've drank coffee. This is in the latest Costco, by the way. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. In October, Facebook told managers to mark 15% of its employees as need support in what workers dubbed quiet layoffs. Across tech, more companies are now demanding a specific number of workers be put on performance improvement plans and ultimately managed out of the company. Alphabet needs to make the company 20% more productive. That's Alphabet, the company that runs Google. Amazon asked to accomplish more with less. And there you go. So, as a manager, as someone who has seen people leave this year, seemingly going to other jobs, quiet quitting and all that kind of thing, I find that interesting. Will it continue, though? They all the people that left did have other jobs to go to, but just to quit would probably not be a good idea at this point. Scientists create a baby wormhole as sci-fi moves closer to fact. This according to Reuters. And that scientists have long pursued a deeper understanding of wormholes, and they now appear to be making progress. Researchers announced this past week that they forged 2 minuscule simulated black holes. Those extraordinarily dense celestial objects with gravity so powerful that not even light can escape. And they created these in a quantum computer and transmitted a message between them through what amounted to be a tunnel in space-time. Now, the last podcast, we discussed how there was someone in Popular Mechanics who wrote that there is an enclosed system, something called entropy occurs, and I'll have to go back and listen to my own podcast, but had something to say that time is a linear, straight ahead, only forward-moving thing. You can't go back and forth in time. Time just moves in one direction. But maybe this is saying no. It was a baby wormhole, according to Caltech physician Maria Spirapoulou, a co-author of the research published in the journal Nature. But scientists are a long way from being able to send people or other living beings through such a portal, she said. Experimentally, for me, I will tell you that it's very far away. People come to me and ask me, can you put your dog in the wormhole? And why would you do that? It's so cruel. And this Maria said to reporters during a video briefing, that's a huge leap. There's a difference between something being possible in principle and something in reality being possible. So don't hold your breath about sending your dog through the wormhole, but you have to start somewhere. And I think to me it's just exciting that we're able to get our hands on this at all. The researchers observed the wormhole dynamics on a quantum device at Alphabet's Google called the Sycamore Quantum Processor. A wormhole is a rupture in space and time. It's considered a bridge between two remote regions in the universe. Scientists refer to them as Einstein-Rosen bridges, after the two physicists who described them, Albert Einstein and Nathan Rosen. This is consistent with Einstein's theory of general relativity, which focuses on gravity, one of the fundamental forces in the universe. The term wormhole was coined by physicist John Wheeler in the 1950s. That's where that goes back to. Maria said the researchers found a quantum system that exhibits key properties of a gravitational wormhole, but was small enough to implement on an existing quantum hardware. So the researchers said no rupture of space and time was created in physical space in the experiment, though a traversable wormhole appeared to have emerged based on a quantum information teleported using quantum codes on the quantum processor. Quantum. But I love those little bears that are named after the koala bears. But they're with the Quanta Airlines. Anyway, that was also from CNN, was where that came from. Fascinating, huh? Outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Look who's here.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. We don't have any wormholes in the gift shop, Mike Matthews.
That's probably a good thing. Do we have snow globes?
Of course, Mike Matthews. We always have snow globes.
Good. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Yes, my quantum computers are fascinating, and we can be able to go back in time and through the universe and into the future. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah. Fascinating. Hey, you know what? Let's go back in time anyway. Shall we? Cafe anyway? Let's go back in time to when yours truly was on the radio, the country radio. And we have this little segment here, Let's Go Back with Matthews. And I recently recorded this. I would like to play this for you, and you can go back in time. See, I play this because I think music radio can be so boring. It's just a jukebox playing on and on and on. And nowadays, people have that on their mobile devices. They've got little apps that can just play music. and they can just listen to that. So radio needs to be radio again. It needs to be interesting. It needs to be fun. It needs to interact with listeners and do that kind of thing. And back in the day, about 20 years ago, I was doing that on a radio station called KHAY and a show called the Santa Fe Cafe, playing country music, talking to listeners. Let's listen to a little piece of that now.
KHAY with KA's Matt Michaels.
The question is, what cartoon character do you most resemble?
Probably Bugs Bunny.
You resemble Bugs Bunny?
Yeah.
You have big ears?
No, I'm just very sneaky.
Sorry, George. I was not really interested.
Who's that?
Huh?
Who's that?
Oh, that's my friend Christina.
Oh. You guys out on a date?
Huh? Hello?
You out on a date?
I'm sorry. I'm on cell phone. I can't hear.
Okay. Cell phones work
Did you
great.
work? Did you work? Did you work?
Daryl Worley, I miss my friend.
Daryl Worley, I miss my friend. That was before he had that song about, have you forgotten about 9/11? I think that's how the lyrics went. So yeah, people would call in like that, and there'd be a guy flirting with the girl. I don't know where that was, somewhere. Who knows? Maybe it was a tanning salon, I forget. But there you go. I like to throw those little bits at the end of my podcast. Yes, this is the end of the podcast. What? You wanted it to continue? Okay. Here's another segment called the Mike Matthews New Tunes Feud. We've got 2 songs I'm going to play for you. You tell me which one you like better. And you know how you do that? You call me at 336MM Daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM is Mike Matthews. Daily as and what this podcast tries to be. Okay, let's see. This is a song called, it's a band actually called Ways in Waves. And this song is called Everything Taken. Wow, that drum's going pretty fast. Yes, that's a song called Everything Taken, Ways in Waves. And they wrote to me at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. Hi, Mike. What would it take to make a difference? Why does it feel like doing things the right way accomplishes nothing? These questions were present in my mind as I began to write new music for myself. I began thinking of how being polite was holding me back from doing good. The past several years have changed me as a person, and I asked myself how much more I would need to change to really be a force for positive change in the world. Well, being polite is good. I would say to you, person writing me, being polite, start with being polite. But they're saying being polite held them back. The song Everything Taken, we heard a little bit of that just now. He says, came about from the feeling of unshakable restlessness that myself and many others felt during the height of the pandemic. That's true. You know, the pandemic sure has generated a lot of music. Would you say not? Nesba? Okay, and then here is someone named Tim Baker. He sent me an email with his tour dates. All right, I'll play something
Tim's label
from his music here. Let's see. This is a song called Someday by Tim Baker.
through the ink of the night. It's like colors that I've never seen. And I need to be in it. My bed and finally stepping in the right direction again.
Is that the lead singer of Hey Rosetta? Is that why I'm getting this? I did interview Tim Baker. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I believe the interview there is in my on my website, mikesdailypodcast.com. If you click on the little hamburger, the 3 horizontal lines, there's all the interviews. Look up Hey Rosetta, and Tim Baker is there. Well, thank you, Tim, for sending that to me. I don't see if you are coming anywhere near to me. You are not. You are mostly on the East Coast. but that's because you're from Nova Scotia, I believe. So, cool. All right, so which one do you like better, Tim Baker or Ways and Waves? Ways in Waves. Which one do you like better? Call me 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM is the Mike Matthews. Daily isn't what this podcast tries to be. You know, last week, I did not do a podcast daily. I think I stopped on Monday. But the 4 days I did not do a podcast, I want to tell you, I had some great, very important, positive times for myself, very progressive, helpful times that strengthened me inside my soul, inside my heart. Because I spent a lot of time with my lovely lady friend, and we did some walking. We had to, we cooked together. We had to make some meals because we were hungry, and we had to spend some time together and talk. And I'm going to tell you now, as my podcast listener, I'm going to be honest with you, that trumps this podcast anytime. So if I get delayed, if I get blocked from doing my podcast, it is because I'm spending quality time with my lovely lady friend. And I think you would agree that is much more important than doing this show. But it is Mike's Daily Podcast. Occasionally I get interrupted by the important things. But thank you for listening to it. And for more ways to reach me, it's A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!